Yeah, it's going well. Definitely excited to play a really, really good football team and kind of jump into FCS play. I think anytime you have an opportunity to play a team from the Missouri Valley, you know that they're going to be a playoff caliber football team. And North Dakota obviously showed that last week. But man, they've had such a great program since Coach Schweikert's been there that the amount of consistency that they've had on their staff, I mean, those guys have been doing a great job for a long time. On defense, they get after it. They're really physical and sound on offense. And it's going to be a tall task for both sides of the ball because, I mean, they're going to try and hold on to it forever. And they're going to play four down football almost the whole game. And they have so many different plays and schemes on offense that it's tough to handle for anybody. And then on defense, they give you so many different looks. If you guys are familiar with the term, bogus pressures, where they're going to blitz and drop guys, so they're never overloading you, but they are always going to drop D linemen, linebackers in the coverage, bring guys from different sides. That it'll be a tall task for our offense to ID those and make sure we put the ball in play.
Coach, you're going up against Bo Schweiger. What are maybe the different challenges you face when you go up against a veteran coach rather than maybe someone who's newer to head coaching?
I don't know if it's a challenge. It's more just something you're aware that they're going to have answers immediately built in. You can't stop their first punch, and you have to start anticipating what their counter is going to be because if you stop X, they're going to go straight to Y, and he already knows what they need to do. So if you stop power, they're going to go to counter. They're going to go to wide zone. Always being ready for if they hit you on one play action pass, they're going to come back, hit you on the play action, the leak back the other way. And just on defense that they're going to make sure that they're going to have wrinkles that you haven't seen. They're going to stop what you do best, and any concepts that you already have, you better have constraints built off of those because they're going to have you dialed based off of formation, down and distance, etc.
Cody, everything I've read over the summer and preparing, for like today, they said, well, North Dakota's lost a lot of players. They're picked for near the bottom of the Missouri Valley. At least for the first 2 weeks, they sure don't look like they're rebuilding. What are they doing really well right now?
Yeah, I mean,
and can you identify a couple players in particular who are playing well for them?
It's interesting that they would say that. I mean, and I don't know where the media stuff goes. And I will say this with all due respect to everybody. I think FCS football is in so much flux right now with the transfer portal, and you don't have enough coverage consistently at practice to understand, hey, if that starter gets hurt, their backup's really good. Just because you look at them on tape and up front, they are awesome. And that back does a wonderful job. I mean, I think losing their quarterback last year, who went to Michigan State, was obviously a big loss because Tommy was such a good quarterback for them. But, they're studs. You still got that All-American receiver. I think Bo Belquist is his last name. I mean, he's still a total threat. They don't have a veteran quarterback necessarily to get him the ball, but they got a quarterback who's more of a problem running it. And now you have to guard him one-on-one. Before you were worried that they were going to scheme and get him open. Now you're worried that you can't stop everybody else unless you single him, and that's going to be just a different type of problem that is presented from that. I mean, on defense, they're interior guys and their backers. I mean, 59 for them. That little Mike, he has a different last name. I don't want to mess him up. They have a lot of the Scandinavian and German last names up there. That's it. It starts with a P. But that guy is a ball playing Jesse. I mean, he hits, he fills gaps, he whether he's zone dropping or playing the run, that guy plays his absolute tail off. And then they got a couple edge guys who've done a really good job, kind of like their stand-up defensive ends. The thing is 94 and 27, 34 are electric guys. I know, and that's always me. Like if they're non-conference guys, I'm just watching tape so much, and you don't hear about them as much. But I mean, you know about Bo, and you know about Gavin. Their running back has obviously done a great job. And then, both those inside linebackers are problems. Their edge stand-up DNs are problems. And I think in the secondary, both their corners are long dudes. I mean, they're bigger than Oregon State's guys. They've kind of gone with the big people beat up little people philosophy, and they do a great job of, they play a bunch of cover three with getting hands on people. So they're not going to give up deep plays. It's hard to get free on the intermediate. And if you want to throw it underneath, they're going to come down and hit you like a torpedo. So they do a great job on defense and offense. They're an outstanding team. And then if you look at their special teams, oh my gosh, like they're so fundamentally sound, and they have so many wrinkles that create massive problems for our guys. We got to play with great eyes and techniques and hold on to your butts.
Cody, the one thing that stands out to me about North Dakota is time of possession. I mean, they had a 12-minute drive against Iowa State. I think Montana had, 13 plays total in the second half on last Saturday. What do you do defensively to try to get off the field, if you will?
Yeah, I think the big part is just trying to create negative plays in early down and distance situations. And they're so big that it's just hard to do. Because if you want to get into the games, well, they're going to pass it off. And if you want to just rely on the one-on-ones, they do a good job of getting double teamed. So I think you have to do a great job of playing with leverage and really trying to attack those gaps with great pad level. And if we can find a way to create some negative plays and put them in long down and distance situations, we'll have more success. But if we can allow them to have, if they get 3 yards on first down, they're going to run it again. They get 3 yards on second down, they're going to run it again. And if it's 4th and 1, they're going to run it and you're going to move on. They're just so big and physical and sound at the point of attack that's probably what stands out the most is just there aren't a lot of seams on the inside. And for whatever reason, even against Iowa State, they just move it. They just move the pile. And, Iowa State didn't really start stopping. So they committed a ton of dudes to the box and just almost wedged and blew those guys up. And in order for us to do that, you're going to expose a lot of stuff on the perimeter where Iowa State just has more length to handle that than probably we do. But it's huge emphasis on creating negative plays and on rundowns. That's first and second down. And if we don't, it'll be a long day. And we got to do a good job of being efficient on offense as well, because they're going to put you in one-on-one situations. They're going to rally to the football. They're not going to give up explosives. So their whole program plays a great complementary football.
Cody, any advantages to playing in a dome this week? We also play in a dome.
Yeah, I think it's probably I don't know if it's an advantage, but it should hopefully phase us less. But man, you look at the people at the Alara Center. They've started packing that thing. I think last time I played there were 8,000 people there. They had 12,000 people there against Montana, partially because the Grizz travel well, but also they've done such a good job establishing themselves in the Missouri Valley as a quality football team. And I think people are just getting more excited about it. I think their move out of the Big Sky has been good for the Big Sky and great for North Dakota, because we didn't want to have to play them all the time because they're so darn good. And then the Missouri Valley, it's just continued. There's such a good pocket of football in that area of the country that I think you've seen the passion for it just really start to breed out in the community. And watching TV copies of the games and seeing pictures, that place is going to be loud. I played in the Fargo Dome, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot closer to the Fargo Dome than some of the domes that we'll play in the Big Sky.
Cody, something that I don't know if this will be a factor or not. You're actually playing an early game on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's not 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you guys are traveling on Friday. What kind of adjustments do you have to make as far as pregame and stuff, given that you've got an early game?
Yeah, our pregame routine, we always kind of have it buttoned up to 4 hours anyways. So even I think night games are harder than early games. Night games are without a doubt way harder, because you don't want to get up and practice and sit around and walk through and sit around and sit on your TV, sit around and watch TV all day and then go play a football game. Whereas I think early games, that's how college football should be played. Just kind of get up and go. So for us, we're a morning practice team. So for our guys, they'll get to sleep in. Our guys are normally waking up at 6. They'll wake up later than that than they do for practice. And we'll be able to go play football how it's meant to be played. We'll get up, and your breakfast, it's funny to have lasagna and pasta next to bacon and eggs. But that's probably the biggest adjustment with the early games is you have some guys, all right, when we want to eat before the game, we always try to eat 4 hours before. So if you're going to play at 1 o'clock, noon our time, which feels like 8 for us, it's like, hey, do you want to eat breakfast or do you want to wake up and eat lunch and carb load? But we'll have snacks and hydration ready for those guys. We're used to the get up and go early morning routine. And I think our guys will favor the get up and go routine rather than just sitting around.
So what's the injury situation in particular at center, but anybody else not going to make the trip?
Right now, Alex is going to go on the trip just because he's such a leader, and I think he'll help with that offensive line. But Alex is doubtful, to say the least. He's done a great job getting those guys ready. Obviously, it's a big loss for us, but he's best friends with Zach. They hang out all the time. So I think if you're looking at anybody to kind of like the transition of power and communication and information, it'll go well with Zach and Alex. And then we've been getting some other guys ready to go too. I think Zach will be the guy. Zach will start. He's really smart. To him, the identification of everything's going to be simple just because he's dialed in on that. It's just understanding, all right, just like you saw last week, having having a quarterback take his first snaps is similar to a center taking his first snaps. You got to make a lot of calls, you got to make a lot of reads, and then you also have to deliver the football on time and in the right location. Otherwise, it can be problematic. But he's done a great job, and he stepped into these situations before, and he's had a great week so far. So we're excited to see Zach go out and play. He's earned the opportunity, and we'll continue to roll.
And your backup.
Striker Rashid would be the backup. We'd end up moving him over. So Striker was the guy who immediately jumped in just because Zach was on the sideline. Striker had already been warm. But we'll have Striker go, and we're really deep at guard, so moving Striker is less of an issue, even though I think Striker's an elite guard. But being able to play a center and have the other 4 cogs in place is probably the best move for us. So the guys that are working double teams together, your tackle guard, passing off blitzes and situations, you want to try and keep that as consistent as possible.
One of the things that struck me in Bubba's press conference, Cody, I don't know if you saw it or not, considering the issues you had with the running game last year, he actually was very complimentary about the running game from what he's seen on tape this year. And he specifically talked about a couple of your players.
Yeah. No, he's a smart coach. He's a good coach, and he's probably trying to just be a good guy. I think for us in the run game, probably because of, the opponent and then kind of losing Alex, it probably hasn't been where we want it to be so far. But we're going to have to run the football, and we know we will as we continue to go. We got to continue to make running the football a priority, particularly when you're in red zone rundown situations. But, there's no bones about it in their program. They're going to stop the run. They're going to put 7 guys in the box regardless of what formation you line up in. You call it a grizzly front just because it's like a typical bear front, which is it's hard to run against bear, and then they add bear with an extra guy in there. So they're going to play one-on-one on the outside a lot, but you can't just play knick-knack, paddywhack the whole game. You got to find ways to run the football. So we're going to have to be creative with extra hats, formations, movement, et cetera, to try and get it in there.
If they're playing one-on-one on the outside, that means they must trust their corners a lot.
They do. I think that's kind of the thing that stands out about that football team, just like how savvy they are. And it's like, hey, they're going to play cover 3, and they know what the 3 beaters are. They're going to play cover 2. They know what you're going to do against cover 2. And just they do such a great job of playing to the weaknesses and what your plays are, that they've done a really good job. But they feel good about their corners. They're long. They'll sag off. They'll give you the stuff underneath. They'll bring pressure. But, really, if it's not 3rd and 2, they're going to play off at the sticks, and they're going to, if you try and throw anything underneath, they're going to smoke you before the line to gain and dare you to run it or throw it on 4th and 1, which can be a tough situation.
When you looked at the film from Saturday, did anybody stand out? Anybody play particularly well Saturday?
I thought Christian Fredrickson played well. We didn't get him the ball enough. That's obviously something that has to change. You just look at the amount. And it was Kobe's first game, and obviously, they came out and just decided to drop 8 the whole game, so you're not going to be able to attack the outsides necessarily the way that you want to. But I thought Jeff and Freddie played really well, and in the run game, they did do a good job. Freddie had multiple plays where he put 2 guys on the ground, and those are the things that you love and appreciate from him being such an elite competitor. That, yeah, he plays receiver, but whether or not he's getting the ball, he wants to play football. So it was cool to see that happen. Ty Hyde has done a good job playing at right tackle for us. He stepped in and done well. And I thought on defense, just seeing those guys play their butts off. Nate Reynolds continues to impress there. Jannari did a good job, again, kind of filling in for Mace. I know he had the big play, but even other than that, he did a great job making some tackles for us.
Anybody else from your normal starting lineup not going to make the trip or not play Saturday?
No, everybody else should be good. Yeah, should be. Like Zion's still out. He got hurt on the first play against Oregon State. But that's. Yeah.
And finally, how excited are you to be flying one-day trip rather than?
Yeah, no, I think it makes a big deal when you can treat it like it's Division I football and not have to take a bus to a football game. It's one thing when it's a 1-hour trip, but just from a preparation standpoint, a hydration standpoint, you talk about your muscles, and as much as these guys train, if they sit down for 3 hours in a row, that's a rare occasion. Those guys sitting down, they'll start to tighten up. So you try and get guys, the bus, it was a unique situation trying to get out at rest stops and have guys stretch and do, old school calisthenics. But on the plane, we'll have guys move. We'll have them hydrated. Having a shorter trip will help. But either way, there's always going to be different adversity gets thrown your way, regardless of how you travel. We could sit in the airport like we did coming back from Portland State. We could sit in the airport for 4 hours. I don't know if it's going to go perfect, but we got to go play football regardless. And we're excited to play a great opponent this week.